Hi, my name is Ellen. I'm an artist. Today is like a get ready with me style video, and we're gonna do my makeup and we're gonna talk about the movie Sinners. If you have not seen the movie Sinners, then I suggest you go see the movie Sinners while it's still out. And when it comes back to IMAX later this month, go see it in IMAX if you get the chance, if it's available in your area, so that you could quite literally see like the full picture. Like when you see it in regular theaters, you get this, but you see in IMAX, you get this. So if you haven't seen Sinners in theaters, then I highly recommend you go see it in theaters. I saw it twice. I have never in my life went to go see a movie in the theaters twice when it was still out. Like I've only seen movies once in theaters, and I'll wait for it to be available later. And there are some movies that although they were good, I've only seen the once. Like I've only seen Black Panther when it was in theater, but if it's like on like streaming or whatever, I'm not gonna watch it on streaming because I just really like the experience of going to see it in the theater, especially like because I seen it once. Like I didn't go and back and see it again and again and again. So yeah. So believe me when I say this is if you don't see nothing else this year in the movie theater, go see this movie. I swear, I am not paid to say this. I am not on Ryan Coogler's payroll. If he wants to slide me a few dollars or whatever for promoting it, then that's whatever. But nobody's paying me to say this or promote it, whatever. I just genuinely love the experience of going to see this movie. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So, if you have not seen my previous video that I quite literally just got done recording a few minutes ago, go watch part one because I'm picking up directly where I left off at. Okay? Have you gonna see the next video? I'm gonna give you guys a second. Alright, a second is over. Welcome back, guys. So I believe in my last video, where I left off is where I was talking about Annie and how she's introducing a lot of people into the hoodoo practice. A lot of people don't know what hoodoo is. A lot of people don't know the difference between hoodoo and voodoo. And a lot of people outside of the spiritual community tend to lump everything together as being evil. And that's not really true. Intention and background, ancestry, and everything it's quite literally everything. So I really like how Amy's character was portrayed. I feel like it was a very positive way to showcase how our ancestors use various forms of African spirituality to not only be like self-serving, but to be a resource to the community and to protect their loved ones. So Annie's mojo bag protected Stack when he was off to the war and off to Chicago and everything. And he's trying to tell her, like, I don't believe in that stuff. I believe in power. I believe in money because that's been my life. That's what I've seen. And she's like, okay, but you came here in one piece. You and your brother came here in one piece. You don't think that I've been doing work at home to protect you on the spiritual realm? Like, both you and your brother are alive in one piece, and that's a miracle. You don't think I had nothing to do with that? And what really hurt me was when he was like, well, how come that didn't work on our baby? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I don't know if the baby was a stillborn, if the baby died from SIDS, if she had a miscarriage, or what the situation was. Because I feel like the way they talked about this baby made it seem like she had a miscarriage. But towards the end, she was breastfeeding the baby, and that was clearly like at least a 2-3 month old. So I just didn't understand. I couldn't make out what happened to the baby. It made it seem like the baby had a miscarriage. So that's what I'm going with. And I feel like because she's spiritual and because she's pulling from her own energy source to pour into other people, that may have had something to do with the miscarriage. And, you know, maybe she doesn't have any other practitioners around her to help protect her during those times. And also, unfortunately, like miscarriages, stillbirths, and like birth related issues was very common back then. That's why some people had like a lot of kids, because in order to, you know, beat the odds, so they can have at least a couple of kids out of all the tries. It was a lot of trial and error back then. It was a lot of medical mishaps and stuff going on. And as I said in my previous video, a lot of times black people were not welcome in hospitals. Like during this time of segregation, like most hospitals, most businesses were white owned. And if but most of the businesses are white owned and they're for white people only, then where does that leave us when it comes to our medical care? Like we were left out, we were abandoned. So I feel like her having a miscarriage and all the work that she poured into Smoke and Stack to protect them in the Mojo bag, and then we see her recharge the Mojo bag that day. And then we also see her, she throws like some buttons and like metal things on the table and reads her fortune. And then that's when she tells Stack, hey, if something happens to me, you know, kill me before I turn so that I can meet with the ancestors. Because there's somebody waiting on me on the other side and they waiting for you too. So I feel like that was kind of foreshadowing, like she was not gonna make it throughout the rest of the night and she knew it, but she was still trying to use what she had available to her to protect everybody that was left alive. Like she was more so community based, whereas Grace is like, look, I just came here to paint the sign and hang out. All this other stuff, I don't want nothing to do with that.
So it took me into like the second time around watching this movie to realize that Grace was dressed like Rosie the Riveter, which I thought was an interesting choice because she was a working woman. But she wasn't a working woman in the same sense of Rosie the Riveter. Like Rosie the Riveter's character was significant and representing women taking men's jobs that had gone on to the war while they were away until they came back. Like Rosie the Riveter's character was more so like trying to get women to go into like factories and construction and hard labor and stuff. And her job being like a grocery store clerk, I'm not gonna say that working in a grocery store is not hard because it is, but it's not the same type of labor. So I just thought that was an interesting choice. But I did see her climbing up on that pole to put that sign up, so I don't know. Maybe. I just I didn't realize that she was dressed as Rosie the River the first time around. But also she must have changed her outfit because she was not wearing that towards the end of the movie. So I guess she only put that outfit on just to hang the sign up and brought a change of clothes to actually go and hang out.
Bo, go get the car. And Bo was just like, hey, these are our friends. We should look out for them. She's like, no, we have Lisa at home. Go get the car. We need to get out of here. And by the time they figured out what was going on, everybody had already left. And I assumed that, okay, it's about 4 vampires, and that's like at least 50 people. Somebody had to make it in their car and drive home. You know, yeah, they were fast, but they weren't that fast. Nobody made it home safe that night. Like, nobody. So, if only they figured out that they were vampires sooner rather than later. By the time they figured it out, it was already too late and they were already outnumbered. So, yeah. The flowers that Annie had in her hair at the end were similar to the flowers that Stack had left on their baby's grave. I thought they were the same at first, but no, they're different. And I saw that somebody pointed out that the flowers that she had in her hair are called baby's breath, which, oh my goodness, that tugged at my heartstrings. When I first saw the movie, I was really annoyed with Grace because her selfishness put everybody at risk. And if she had just waited a minute, they could have re-upped on the garlic, made some more steaks, spread out a little bit more, set some traps or something to be better prepared for the onslaught of vampires that she had welcomed in against the consent of everybody else. And it's like, girl, instead of telling them to come in, you should have went the fuck outside, okay? Because everybody is working to protect you, and all you're thinking about is yourself. But upon the second watch, I was like, well, maybe her logic was, since they're not going anywhere because they want Sammy, that's gonna keep them from going into town and attacking everybody, including her daughter. And if Remick is able to access information about Lisa through Bo, then she just had to go straight after Bo. So as soon as the vampires came in, her husband charged at her. She staked him, and they both lit up on fire, which must have been very painful and awful. That's a crazy way to go out. But I felt like when she was like, well, what about the rest of the people in town? Like, we may be safe tonight, but what about the night after that, the night after that, the night after that? What's going to happen to everybody else? So I feel like her logic was more so like, let me just stake my husband real quick, and we can kill as many of them as we possibly can to at least slow them down so that there's less of them and we can reduce the numbers. Because the longer we are able to keep them here, if we can keep them here, if we can keep them occupied here until sunrise, then maybe that'll save the rest of the town, even if I don't survive. So maybe that was the logic. And I have to like give grace to Grace because he was threatening her daughter, and you don't play about people's kids, okay? Like, you can threaten somebody, you can threaten their husband, you could threaten their sister, brother, cousin, or whatever, but like, you don't play about people's kids. People don't play about their kids, especially when it's like an only child or something. Like, absolutely not. It was bad enough that Bo was a vampire, but when Remick was taunting her and getting all in her head and stuff, I think she just had a breakdown and acted rashly. But the real person that put them all in danger was Mary, because she should have just stayed her ass inside and not interacted with them. But it's also like, well, what time did the juke joint close? Because if the juke joint closed before sunrise and the clan came, then they would have been in danger anyways. So who knows what would have happened? But yeah, like, Grace's character was kind of selfish, but I understand, and I feel like it's a valid crash out. Chad, I'm supposed to be doing makeup. Okay, so people tried to make it seem like this movie was some type of Christian propaganda, and we're basically saying, well, if Sammy would have stayed at the church, then he wouldn't have attracted Remick in the first place, and everybody would have been safe. The only way that Sammy was able to survive the night is because he used his guitar to smash it across Remick's head, okay? And I feel like that was symbolism, meaning that if you're a creative person, your talents are going to attract people, and some of them are not going to have the best intentions, and they will try to harm you. But that doesn't mean that you should give up on your creativity. That doesn't mean that you should just not lean into your power and your strength and your creativity. It just means that you need to be protected more. And when you lean into your talents, that's the only thing that's going to save you. He wasn't there that night and maybe had perhaps waited until next week when they opened up the joint. If they decided to delay it, Remick or somebody else still would have been attracted to his talent. And if Annie wasn't there to tell them what the fuck was going on and make sure they had garlic and steaks and all of that, nobody would have survived. Remick was on the prowl, not just for blood, not just to collect souls and convert people into vampirism. He was looking for somebody with a spiritual connection. He wasn't just attracted to Sammy. He was also attracted to Annie because Annie. Oh, the curtain just fell. Oh well, I'm gonna keep talking because Annie was a hoodoo priestess. Annie was the one telling everybody what's going on in order to help protect them. Annie was the one that was talking to Cornbread and was like, no, why do you need permission to come in here? Why can't you just come here and here on your own? Like, you've been coming in and out of here all day. You the one that was guarding the door. And she knew he really lost his mind when he was like, oh, I got the bubble guts because you use old grease. Like, I ain't use no damn old grease. You know damn well you do no old grease. Stop playing with me. There's something truly wrong with you. I think that Cornbread's character was funny because it's like, if you would have just stayed your ass home, especially because that man disrespected you and your pregnant wife, you wouldn't have been in this situation. You would have been able to focus on meeting your quota. But since your wife got you out here in these streets, now you over here looking stupid. I just feel like it's a symbol that, not all money is good money. And, sometimes greed will really be your downfall. That's my analysis of the situation. So when Sammy, I feel like I relate a lot to Sammy as a creative person because, especially someone that is like visually alternative, I've had so many people throughout my life try to like get me to turn my talents and my gifts into something that is more benefiting to them instead of allowing me to hone in on my talents for me, and always trying to find ways to abuse it or downplay it or whatever. I feel like the way that played out was like a call to creative people, like, hey, don't let people manipulate you into going along with some shit that you have no business going along with. Don't let people, like, protect yourself, protect your talent, protect your gift, and make sure that you're doing things in alignment with what's best for you. Because if you don't do what's best for you, other people will notice your talents and they'll figure out how to do it in a way that is best for them. And if you don't have people in your circle like Smoke and Stack and Delta Slim who are around to encourage you and allow you to express yourself and show up as your best self, then you're going to be truly lost in this world. Like, if you're a creative person, then you really need to hone in on your talents. You really need to hone in on your skills. You really need to lean into what is working best for you. Provided you're not doing anything to hurt anyone, of course. But yeah, right now, but we're gonna trust the process. Okay? Trust the process. I saw people saying that, like, Sammy should have just stayed at the church and not get down with the heathens or whatever, and that's what would have really saved him. But the guitar is the only thing that prevented Remick from ending him. And I felt like that had a lot of symbolism and such. And this is why I say that the preacher and Remick were one and the same, because they both wanted Sammy's gift for themselves. They didn't want him to have it for him. Whereas the twins were like, we need to hone in on this gift, this talent. Yeah, they were trying to make money for the club, but they were also like, they recognized his talent. And they recognized that the impact it had on the community, and how it was not only freeing for Sammy, but like everybody else felt so empowered by his music. And just how powerful that is. Like it's very nice. But yeah, the preacher got on my nerves because at the end he saw Sammy come in there covered in blood and scratches, and he prevents his mom from going to check on him, and he is like trying to make Sammy give up his guitar and swear before the congregation that you're gonna put all this evil behind you. And it's like, this so-called evil is what saved his life. And like he just wanted to make an example out of Sammy so that he can strengthen his congregation, so that he can use him as an example and say, see, I took this sinner, this heathen son who liked to play the guitar at the juke joint, and I redirected his talent to use for the church instead. So if you guys are sinners, if you guys are heathens and you're struggling, then like look what I did with my own son. That's what I feel like the angle was with that. Also, we find out at the end that the guitar that Sammy had that he thought belonged to someone else actually belonged to his uncle, the abusive uncle. And he was a musician, but they lied about where it came from because they didn't want him to feel some type of way about it. And I feel like that plays into why the father was so toxic in the first place. Because when you don't lean into your talents, your gifts, and you just allow it to fall by the wayside, and you get distracted by all these different things, you become a bitter, miserable, abusive person that don't nobody like. And they didn't want that fate for him. They knew he was better than that. And also, I feel like maybe the dad blamed Stack for his mom's stuff, and that's why he was abusive to him and everything. So like that ties in together. Let me get this real quick. I also feel like the movie is like a warning to black people specifically. Stop letting them people in our space. Okay? Stop inviting them to the cookout just because they have a little instrument and they sing a little song. Don't mean that they're the type of people that we need to welcome into our space. No matter how friendly they may appear, they're still a threat to us, and we should still focus on having our own spaces. And if you're a creative person, you may be inspired to just continue to pursue your own creative endeavors. I also feel like the movie is also like telling people that you need to negotiate. Don't just accept whatever the fuck people want to give you. Negotiate. Know your worth. Know your value. They're approaching you for a reason. You clearly have something to offer. You have something of value. They recognize it. You need to recognize it too. And yeah, this movie had me so like emotional on so many different levels that when I saw that cast doing a press tour with Michael B. Jordan, I was like, where the other one at? Where is the other one at? Did he really die in that movie? Oh my gosh. Like, you forget that this man is not really a twin, that he's literally just one person acting two roles. Like, you literally feel like these are two completely different people. Like, he had a completely different personality. He walked different. He talked different. He had like a completely different persona. Like, that's like the way all that played out was just crazy. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna add a little bit more glitter to my eyes because I feel like that's like what I need in my life is more glitter in my eyes. But yeah, like that's pretty much like what I took from the movie. I feel like I'm probably forgetting a couple of things.
Okay, so you guys know how when people post videos about living in Appalachia, they have the no you didn't rules. The same rules apply for like the country and like nature or just any other area. Like cornbread. You are a black man from down south. You know that if somebody says your name and you don't see them and you don't quite understand what is calling you, that you are not supposed to be answering. First of all, why did you go out, all the way out in the middle of the woods to go pee anyways? I get that you may have been like a little bit insecure about your manhood size or whatever, but ain't nobody was really checking for you like that, to be honest. And that's not me calling him ugly or anything, but like everybody was in the juke joint minding their own business. So when Delta Slim was like, "Why can't you just pee right here? Why you gotta go all the way over there?" He was right. Like, what are you doing? You ain't got no business being out there. Like, I'm not saying that he should have peed on the juke joint, but he could have easily peed near it where he was still like in view shot of the door. He didn't have to be all the way out there like that. So that's like one little thing that I definitely missed in this video.
I feel like I'm probably forgetting a couple things, but this video is long enough. Please like, comment, subscribe, and feel free to share your own thoughts if you have seen the movie Sinners. Let me know if you guys like this video and if you would like me to do more movie deep dives with, makeup or whatever, because I don't really get out much and I'm just looking for new ways to like do something more with my channel. And I will see you guys later. Bye. Okay, so final thoughts. I didn't fully get the first time around that one of the twins, I think it was Stack, was explaining to Sammy how to eat a cat. Like, I completely, I don't know, missed that on that conversation the first time around that I saw it. So upon seeing it again, it made more sense why he was listening at the door and why he was like proud of him and was like pointing it out to Grace and is like, look, that's Sammy in there. I taught him that. That completely went over my head the first time around seeing this movie. Like, did you guys see that? Like, notice that he was like coaching him on how to participate in adult activities because he was like, oh, if you meet a girl that you like, you find her button and you do things with it. So I didn't fully get that the first time I saw it. Like, I'm sorry if that makes me slow or whatever, but it wasn't it wasn't connecting for me, to be honest. So I'm glad I paid better attention the second time I saw it so that I could notice it. Smoke. Okay, so Smoke should have thrown the money at Cornbread because Annie was like, hey, be careful. Like, being careful would have been y'all closing that fucking door and stop talking to them damn vampires. Being careful would have been you saying, no, I'm not giving you money. You're not even alive right now. What the fuck are you going to do with this money? You're dead. Like, being careful would have been, at the very least, throwing the money. Like, at the very least, throw that shit over there. The same way they tell you, like, oh, somebody is robbing you and they tell you to like give them your wallet. You never directly hand it to them. You always throw it as far as you can and then you run the opposite direction. That's what the fuck he should have did, okay? He should have threw that because when he reached for his arm, I was like, oh shit, he's about to get got. But luckily, that didn't happen to him, so there's that. I have no idea what a coos is. I've never heard anybody refer to their body part as a coos. So when Mary said that in that train station, I was like, I'm using context clues because I've never heard that word before. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna use context clues because I've never heard that word before. So I use my context clues, and I'm suspecting that that is another word for a female body part. That that's what they were talking about back in the day. So yeah, that's what I'm guessing. I know that sexism and the patriarchy was whooping people's ass back then, and it's still whooping people's ass today. But I feel like the way that the preacher felt comfortable treating Sammy is a testament to what his mother allows. Because there's no way that I would see my child all bloodied and scratched up and carrying the remnants of his guitar and allow my husband to tell me to sit down and then go berate him. Like, he wasn't trying to get Sammy no first aid. He didn't ask him what the fuck happened. It was just straight to victim blaming, self righteous nonsense. And I'm glad he decided to leave that church and never look the fuck back. So people were saying that they think that Sammy sold his soul to the devil to get talent, and that's why they didn't see his reflection in the mirror. But I saw his reflection in the mirror, and they were trying to say, like, oh, well, what if he's a vampire too? He is literally an old man. And Smoke said, I smell death on you. You don't have a lot of time. I can turn you if you want. You can keep playing music and you can go around the world. So I feel like, reading comprehension directly correlates to when you're watching something. And y'all need to go back to reading books or something. Like, maybe Pizza Hut needs to start offering the kids paying pizza for reading 100 books again or something, because y'all be missing shit. Y'all were like, all Perlene did was lay there and get ate, and now she got a whole club named after her. We will never be serious, okay? We will never be serious. If there is a thing that we will never do, it is be serious. Ever. I have been dying laughing at all the memes and videos and skits that people have been doing directly in relation to Sinners. Like, the edits and everything. Like, people will be like, people have a picture of cornbread and be like, if I send you this, that means give me my money. Give me my money. I really love the river dancing scene, but one thing I noticed is that if Remick is like controlling them like a hive mind, and they're all dancing in a circle counterclockwise. First of all, where the fuck did they get those instruments from? There was no instruments in that clan couple's house, okay? There was no instruments there. And then when they were dancing in a circle, there were people with extra instruments. Where the fuck y'all get these extra instruments from? Because when they were in the club, it's like there was a harmonica, there was a piano, there was Sammy with his guitar. Where did y'all get all these extra instruments from? I know they weren't just laying around outside waiting for you guys to turn into vampires in Riverdance. Like, where did these instruments come from? Like, what the fuck? Like, you turn into a vampire and all of a sudden you know how to play some instruments and dance? All of a sudden you got some rhythm? Like, what's really happening? What's really going on? I really need to know. A lot of people are saying that they need a prequel and a sequel. But if you pay attention to the movie, I feel like Ryan did a really good job of storytelling and making sure that we had a good understanding of what life was like for these characters prior to this day. Because all this shit went down in less than 24 hours, aside from like the post-credit scenes. where they see Sammy. Another thing I was thinking about is how Stack said that was one of the best days of his life because it was the last time he seen the sunrise. It was the last time he seen his brother, and how because him and his brother are twins and vampires don't have a reflection, that was legitimately the last time he seen his twin because he can't even see his own face. I had thought that if vampires can't be seen in reflections, that they can see themselves, but we can't see them. So it's unclear of whether or not he could see his own reflection. So that just hit me like extra deep. Also, it was hinted that, well, it was noticed that like he had the same haircut. His hair is just grown out, just the same haircut. It's just grown out straight for the time. Yeah. I also feel like, why did Stack and Mary wait until Sammy was like an 80-year-old man to go and visit him? They are immortal. They could have been visited him. They could have been, had a relationship with him or something. Like, what the fuck? Like all that shit went down and you did all this work to protect your little cousin and you wait like 50 years. What's 9 minus 3? 7. 70 years. You wait like 70 years to go see him after he's already done performing and about to wrap up the night. Like, y'all don't find that odd? Because I don't know about you, but if I have family that I'm close to, vampire or not, well, we're not going those 70 years without seeing each other. What the fuck? I'm not doing that. But yeah, a lot of people saying, oh, I need a sequel. I need to know what happened. Y'all, read a history book. That's what the fuck happened, okay? Read a history book. I do wonder if Stack ever went into town and was like paying people their money. Like if he ever went back to pay, what's his name, Cornbread's wife the money so that they wouldn't be behind. If he ever, or if they ever, like, did they go back and kill Mary's husband? Did they kill other people in the clan? Like, I need to know. Like, if they ever went back into town and was like trying to explain to people what the fuck happened and like trying to make sure that people got their money and everything. Because if not, then why the hell not? I want the front of my eyeliner to be like a little bit pointier. The eyeliner gods can sense fear. So I feel like I need to be quiet while I'm doing my eyeliner so I don't mess it up. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell JT meant when she said my bitch is shaking ass with their hands up. Like, were they standing there like Cornbread and doing a little polite twerk, a little hip wiggle thing? Like, how do you shake ass with your hands out? Okay, so these are the lashes that I'm wearing today. If you guys want to learn how to put on strip lashes, I have a tutorial for you guys. I suggest you check it out. I might put the thumbnail somewhere like over here. But yeah, like this is my final look. I thought about doing freckles today because I like to do colorful freckles with my look. But I feel like because it's kind of vampy and dark, I don't really need it. I feel like that'll make it a little bit too girly pop. And this is supposed to be not so girly pop. Like, it's a little girly pop because of glitter, but like I feel like the colorful freckles might tone down the sultriness a bit. But this is my final look. I'm gonna take down my hair, do some thumbnails, and I'll see you guys later. Okay, so this is the final look. I put my little knives in my head. I don't know how else to do with them. I swooped my edges. And I got my little safety pin clips in, and I like floofed out my hair a little bit. And boom, I feel like some mousse in my hair, and I'm looking super cute. I got my tank top from the Satanic Church. It's like a little witch thing. I think it's like so appropriate for this video, but yay. This is what we're looking at. We're very cute. We're very vampy. My highlighter is highlighting, okay? It's highlighting. Alrighty, and that is it. That is the look for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
I just want to know what made Ryan Coogler go, I am going to make Irish folk dancing scary. I'm going to make people afraid of white people tap dancing in a circle with some bagpipes. Like, what about that made him think, I gotta add this to a horror movie? Because this is actually creepy as hell.